Mark Grayson is slowly evolving into the villain of his own story as Invincible Season 3 unfolds. But before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like and comment on the video, and if you're able, please sign up for channel memberships for exclusive content, which really helps us out. Anyway, back to the video. So, since the very beginning, Steven Yeun's Invincible character has been defined by his staunch moral boundaries. Mark bravely refused to join his evil father in Invincible Season 1's ending, has always responded to requests for help, and felt great remorse after killing Angstrom Levy in Season 2's ending. Indeed, the main version of Mark Grayson is a rarity across Invincible's entire multiverse, since many of his variants failed to resist the temptation of tyranny. Mark may have been ethical almost to a fault across Invincible Seasons 1 and 2, but Season 3 begins pushing him down a darker route. While remaining the story's hero and protagonist, of course, Mark nevertheless begins acting in a way that makes him harder to root for, and whereas he previously saw right and wrong as black and white absolutes, Season 3 pulls Mark into a moral grey area. If that pattern continues, Mark Grayson could be the villain of his own story by the time Invincible Season 4 begins. The first sign of Mark Grayson's antagonistic streak begin to emerge during Season 3's fight against Doc Seismic. While every hero trapped by Seismic is taken aback after receiving backup from Darkwing and D.A. Sinclair's Reanimen, Mark fully loses his cool and attacks both, ignoring the real fight. At best, Mark's behavior here could be described as foolish and inexperienced. He could have at least waited until the seismic crisis was over before picking a fight with the GDA. More severely, however, Mark's reaction could be seen as arrogance, hubris, and a belief that his awesome powers place him above the other heroes. Mark Grayson's subsequent assault on Cecil and the GDA further highlights how increasingly problematic he's becoming. Getting angry with Cecil is one thing, but bringing his fight to the Guardians of the Globe, expecting them to take his side, then causing a split in the team, are all hallmarks of an entitled brat, not a hero. Mark has a point, of course. Invincible constantly gives the audience reasons not to trust Cecil and the GDA, which exist within their own special ethical grey area. No grievance Mark holds is without merit, but by refusing to even have a discussion, Mark paints himself as the bad guy, and his attitude exudes the toxic aura of someone who expects to be obeyed. There are also indications of Mark's moral rules loosening somewhat in Season 3's opening 3 episodes. Previously, Mark was devastated after appearing to kill Angstrom Levy, aghast that he'd taken another's life. When feuding with Cecil in Season 3, however, Mark is comfortable threatening his former boss's life during a cold-blooded goodbye. Although he later insists to Eve and his mother that the threat was empty, killing Angstrom may have started Mark down a path where taking foes' lives gradually becomes easier over time. Aside from making him act like a flying Anakin Skywalker, the other way Invincible Season 3 starts molding Mark into a villain is by showing the hidden side of his crime-stopping activities. Two Invincible scenes in particular are designed to draw sympathy for the show's so-called villains. Cecil, for example, receives a series of flashbacks that reveal he was once a moral absolutist like Mark Grayson, refusing to budge even when it was to his own detriment. This revelation makes present-day Cecil seem far more reasonable, but simultaneously casts Mark as immature. Invincible suggests that Cecil, through decades of experience, has learned something Mark has not yet realized. Secondly, Season 3 tells the story of a couple struggling financially due to various life hardships. They ultimately attempt to rob a bank while avoiding causing harm to bystanders, but are thwarted thanks to the intervention of Mark and Oliver. Seeing the motivations of these two desperate thieves hammer home the idea that Mark's concept of hero and villain does not ring true in the real world. Moreover, the touching montage proves heroes like Mark generally fail to consider why crime is happening in the first place. Not everyone they battle is like Doc Seismic and the Viltrumites, geared for world domination. As Mark becomes increasingly less forgiving and his enemies become more relatable, it's only natural that Invincible's main character begins to veer towards the darker end of the hero-villain spectrum. Invincible the person keeps insisting that the line between good and bad is clear, solid, and immovable. Invincible the TV show keeps proving he's totally wrong. The fact that other Mark Graysons in the multiverse turned evil further supports the idea that Invincible's main Mark is capable of breaking bad. The irony, however, is that Omni-Man himself is taking the exact opposite journey. While Omni-Man's appearance in Season 3 have been minor thus far, Earth's would-be destroyer has shown remorse for his actions and befriended Alan the alien while awaiting execution. If father and son meet again in Season 3, Omni-Man's rehabilitation may be enough to drag Mark back from the road that leads him to following his father's footsteps.